The NPA resolution, the buzz has been getting louder. Our colleague Nimesh Shah caught up with Credit Suisse's head of research, Ashish Gupta, on the sidelines of their conference in Hong Kong to get a sense of how quickly they expected this to happen if consolidation of PSUs or regional banks is a workable solution. Listen in.
The government is looking at various structures of consolidating the state-owned banks, and one of the structures being discussed, as you mentioned, is a regional level consolidation. Yep. But from what we understand and what was spoken about in his presentation, that the first step toward consolidation is having some more confidence in the balance sheet health of these banks, right? So till we get some progress on the NPA resolution, I think consolidation is step 2, and we need step 1 to come first. And so I think let's first see how step 1 goes before we kind of move to step 2.
The other thing, interesting thing which he spoke to me in my interview as well, was the government is looking at identifying the top 50 defaulting corporates, and his suggestion was maybe you can look at a sectoral sectoral relief to certain sectors which can actually clear up this NPMS, like whether it's steel, whether it's power, whether it's infra. Is that a feasible option to you?
I think so. I think the government will have to think of structures around industry level because you are very right. The problem is concentrated within a few sectors, and secondly within a few large companies. Right? If the solution focuses on these specific companies and sectors, it has more likelihood of succeeding.
Okay, Ashish, I'm sure given that banking contributes almost 31% of the index in India. You've been tracking banks for so long. What has been the key concerns or the key questions that investors have asked you at this conference this year?
So I think the two most discussed topics are, of course, one on asset quality and where we are on the resolution. The second is really on the prospects of loan growth. Right? And at the industry level, loan growth has been very tepid. It's at historic lows. As of now, what we have found is that because the state-owned space is not growing, private banks and non-banks have been able to grow much faster. And so the concerns have been that in this macro backdrop, can the private banks continue to come out with these kind of growth rates?
Okay. The other big theme which probably a lot of market is anticipating is some bit of consolidation in the NBFCs as well. Some of the banks looking to buy out the NBFCs and MFIs. Is that something which probably one should expect in the months to come within the banking space?
I'm sure, although what we find is that very many of the NBFCs themselves have very credible business models. The liquidity conditions in the economy are also very robust. The funding costs for these NBFCs have come down. They have been able to access capital directly from the market as well. So of course, even standalone business models of NBFCs are very robust now. So while I'm sure some banks are looking at acquiring some NBFCs, but NBFCs on a standalone basis are also doing very well.
Okay. Ashish, you've been pretty much ahead of the curve in terms of identifying the entire NPMS in the banking space, and for a long time you have an underperformer rating on most of the PSU banks. It's been almost 2 years now that's played out very nicely. Most of the PSUs have not done well as far as stock prices are concerned. I believe you still have a underperformance rating on most of the PSU banks. Is that going to change soon, or do you think there is still more pain left before you see the green light?
So our worry has been around the NPA resolution process. It has taken longer than what we expected, and as of now, we still don't have visibility if that process is going to happen very rapidly. And in the absence of that, as I said, we continue to prefer the consumer lenders rather than the corporate lenders.